Hello, time for another vlog. I know I'm supposed to be doing one every month. That's the idea, of an update at least every month, and this is June, and I think it's the third one this year, so halfway there. Never mind. If I just look at the state of the world and I think, well, I've complained about all that before. What is there to say? Civilization is on the blink, I think, and what can be done? Politicians are corrupt, or stupid, or psychotic, or both, or all three. The people are inactive, really unable to do anything. I mean, short of revolution, which I don't think is a good idea. We do need a revolution, but not that sort, not a violent one, because it just puts more of the same types of crooks in charge at the end of the day. So society, I'm sure, is going to break down. Climate change and plagues and stuff like that, usually with the addition of war, have done it repeatedly historically. And sort of civilizational overextension, of course, being another factor that has repeatedly joined with the other three to zap us from time to time. We're clearly heading for another zapping. It's human nature. We are just smart enough to get a civilization going, but we're not smart enough to maintain the sort of moral behaviour codes that develop it in the first place and sustain it. So we're going through a decadent phase, certainly in the West, and it's unsupportable. We collectively put money before morals, always, or almost always, and that's just not sustainable. Productivity and production and all that, in its place, is great. Not in its place, you expand to fill the space available to you, and then you collapse. So we're doing it, yeah. And signs of this, I don't want to be too doom and gloomy, but I mean, look at the world, right? Sea surface temperatures at the moment are, as I understand it, global sea surface temperature is the highest it's been since records began for this time of year. I think it's 0.71 Celsius above normal. Well, what's that? 1.5 Fahrenheit, something like that. 1.3, something like that. Degrees. So the sea has been a big heat sink for the global warming that is going on, and but the heat sink is getting full. I think that's what it means. I know we have El Nino just starting though, over in the Pacific Ocean, but the Atlantic Ocean is hot as well. The Arctic sea ice is crumbling. The emperor penguins have lost, I think, 3 seasons in a row for reproduction, because they normally huddle up on the sea ice, and the sea ice is melting underneath their feet. I've noticed also, especially in London, something of a shortage of insects. I mean, there are some around, but I seem to remember there being more in previous years. I went to St Albans, if you see my previous video, and there were plenty up there. So outside the town it looks good, but in here it's a little bit sparse, especially for bumblebees. There don't seem to be as many birds around as well. There are plenty, but they're a little bit quieter. I think trouble is, where I am, the council coppices the trees during the breeding season, which I really think they shouldn't, because the water table is low, so the trees cause subsidence by sucking up the remaining water, and it's a bit of a vicious circle, but obviously we're not going to stop them doing that. But if there are fewer insects, it's going to be harder to grow crops. Of course, the changing climate is also making it harder to grow crops. And droughts and wildfires in certain parts of the world are also causing serious problems. The old curvy jet stream. Now, I know some people say, oh, look, this has all happened before. Millions of years ago, the Earth was warmer. I don't think I can educate such people, really. It's basic physics. People have been warning since, I think the earliest warning I've seen was around about 1860 something, that industrialization would change the climate because of our changing the composition of the atmosphere. The Club of Rome's report from 50 years ago, which I did a video on, is still right on track. We're heading to the period of chaos right now. Here we go. So, what can we do? We can try and keep our individual footprints low. We can try and figure out how we might survive shortages of food and water and things of that sort. And depending on where you live, the requirements will vary. In a city like London, I don't think there's anything I can do. I don't have a garden, so I can't grow any food, So, anyway. Not to worry, eh? Everything will be fine. We'll all be dead soon. Of course, there are lots of other things going on. But I've been thinking about... Oh, well, there's politics, I suppose, but honestly, it's too stupid for words. I can't be bothered with it. It's just, I think the lying now is far more prevalent than it used to be. And more blatant, and certainly it looks more like a circus to me than it ever did. It's just for show. It seems to be just for show. They do what they want, but they talk whatever blather gets them through the day. And they'll get caught once they leave office or something, and nothing will happen, and the current lot will keep on doing the same. It doesn't matter. So I've been thinking about a few more abstract things, like, is there such a thing as free will? Science and materialist type people say there can't possibly be something like free will because everything is subject to physical law. Well, it's not certain that everything is subject to physical law. That is actually an assumption that they make. Consciousness, for example, correlates to brain activity, but we can't measure it. We don't really know what it is. Is it physical at all? Does it have a location? We don't know basic things about it. Free will is another one of these kinds of things. You see, if you don't have free will, then the reasoning that makes you say free will is not possible because everything is controlled by physical law, that reasoning is just the dumb output of a blind machine following the laws of physics. It doesn't mean anything. Does that make sense? It's because it's just the output of a machine that is designed to make this organism survive better for a time, it would say anything to produce that result. It's just a machine, right? No free will. Free will requires the ability to step outside the system and really see, and also to be related to some kind of wants or intent or something of that sort. Some of which will come from the physical system, but some of which surely must have to come from elsewhere if there is to be free will. A transcendent beyond of some sort. So, if our thoughts are purely controlled by physical law, our thoughts are just garbage. Which is very strange. Speaking of garbage, ChatGPT. I suppose I should say something about AI. ChatGPT is effectively another kind of search engine, and you can ask it questions in natural language and it will give you answers which are frequently wrong, to my experience, or partly wrong, and they're very politically correct, which I think is a disgrace, really, but we are where we are, right? The corporations and whatnot, the suits that make you wear sensible clothes that work at work are they're in control. Because somehow wearing a suit and tie is impressive to other idiots, right? It's going to be more disruptive than COVID, clearly, this sort of artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of people have been warning that AI is a danger to the survival of humanity, especially general AI, that is, an artificial intelligence with general intelligence. Because the AIs up to now have been very good at doing a specific single task. ChatGPT is like a little step in a more general direction. And it's disrupting education, of course, because students are using it to cheat and write their essays for them and so on. So they will fail to learn how to do research properly, or how to write and compose an essay properly, or ultimately their own thoughts properly. It's another way of dumbing down the world. We get our physical work done for us by machines, and now we're going to get our mental work done for us by machines. The elite will decide that the majority of people are not needed anymore, won't they? Soon enough. They probably decided that a long time ago. Now they're in a position to replace us. Well, not quite, but soon. Certainly a lot of jobs are going to go. And it's not clear what they'll be replaced with. Optimists say, oh well, new jobs always come along. Well, they always have done up to a point. But that doesn't mean they always will. That's just induction, right? It's happened once or twice before. So it'll happen again. It doesn't follow. Some jobs will stay for a long time. But really, we're building Skynet for ourselves, aren't we? As per the Terminator movies. Potentially. Not necessarily. People have been, scientists in particular, have been warning about the dangers of general AI, and philosophers, for a while. And politicians and corporations have done very little about it to stop it, or to control it. A bit. Google held back on its AI because it was concerned about the consequences, but Microsoft has trumped them now, as it were. So it's all hands on deck now as they race each other and others. to produce more products. And politicians, of course, are ignoring it all. They maybe will make a comment now and then, but nothing changes. This is, of course, what they did with climate change. When the Club of Rome brought out its report 50 years ago, there was a lot of talk about it and no action. And here we are. So that's the system we have. Platitudes and no action. So things are going to change, and things are going to change fast, and you do need to be able to look after yourself somehow, and probably get together with neighbours and so on to think of community ways, but it's not happening yet. It won't happen until after the collapse is well on and clearly visible even to the dumbest people, right? Then it will start to, people will start to do something, but it's too late. I think we'll already have been abandoned by the elite. It'll either, there may be a universal basic income, or it may just be people will be left on the dole to starve or something. Don't know. It'll vary from society to society. The United States is famous for leaving its citizens to fend for themselves, claiming it's a good thing, it's motivational and competition and all that. I don't think it is. To some extent, competition and all that is good. But also, looking after your citizens is actually good. And actually can be less costly. But anyway, the United States is the financial engine of the world at the moment, so it's hard to argue against that. Except in a moral sense, maybe. But we'll see what happens when it collapses. Other than that, I've just been getting on with stuff, putting up the occasional video on the Let's Play channel, Alphatucana Let's Play. I've carried on uploading gameplay videos. I'm still tinkering with the schedules for the videos. I'm now trying 4 videos a week, one on various days. Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. But I'll have to observe it and see how it goes. But have a look if you're interested in gameplay, anyway. Other than that, really, I don't have any updates. I'm just waiting for the world to collapse or for me to win the lottery or something, right? I go to work, I come home, and that's it. Yeah. Alright. Anything to say? Let me know in the comments. Bye for now.